In a distant galaxy, where the Khar-Xhoar Empire ruled with an iron grip, tales of the terrifying alien champion, Xorath, struck fear into every planet. The Khar-Xhoar were a race of towering, fearsome aliens known for their relentless pursuit of power. Their greatest weapon was Xorath, a monstrous warrior whose strength was unmatched across any system. For years, he crushed any opponent, his victories painting a trail of terror that left entire worlds subjugated. Yet in a forgotten corner of this empire, a flicker of hope remained. On Earth, a small, resilient planet far from the Khar-Xhoar capital, an underground rebellion grew. News of Xorath's undefeated streak was spreading, igniting both despair and resistance among those who wished for freedom. One day, the Khar-Xhoar broadcasted a message to every known system. It was a challenge from Xorath himself. Any being in the galaxy may come forth and face me. Should they succeed, I will grant freedom to their world. Fail, and your people will be ours to command. The rebellion's leaders on Earth gathered, contemplating their options. No one had ever defeated Xorath. His armor was impenetrable, his strength beyond measure. But among them, one voice rose, quiet yet firm, a young girl named Tessa. She had no formal training, no background as a fighter, and her small frame was anything but intimidating. Yet she stepped forward with an unwavering resolve. "I'll go," she said. The others were skeptical. Sarah, her friend and fellow rebel, grabbed her arm, whispering urgently, "Tessa, you're just a farmer's daughter. What chance do you have against Xorath?" Tessa looked at her, her expression calm but determined. "Everyone is too scared to even try. If we're going to lose, I'd rather we lose trying than just waiting." Reluctantly, the rebellion leaders allowed Tessa to go, sending her off with wishes and words of caution. When Tessa arrived at the arena on the Khar-Xhoar capital planet, the air was thick with tension. Alien spectators filled the stands, their voices hissing and growling as they eagerly awaited yet another victory for Xorath. The arena was vast, a gleaming ring surrounded by towering pillars etched with alien symbols. Xorath stood in the center, his massive form covered in dark, gleaming armor, his weapon a monstrous blade nearly as tall as Tessa herself. As she approached, Xorath glared at her. "A human girl," he sneered, his voice echoing like thunder. "You believe you can defeat me?" Tessa clenched her fists, refusing to let her fear show. "I came here for freedom, and if that means I have to beat you, I will." The crowd erupted in mocking laughter, but Tessa stayed focused, watching the way Xorath moved, the way his heavy armor made him slow. She knew that she could never match his brute strength, but she also knew something he didn't. His pride made him predictable, and predictable meant vulnerable. The gong sounded, and Xorath charged forward with terrifying speed. Tessa darted to the side, feeling the rush of air as his blade narrowly missed her. She realized immediately that one direct hit would end her, but she also saw how heavy his movements were. Every swing required his full weight, and every miss left him slightly off balance. She kept moving, dodging each blow by inches, her heart racing with every close call. The alien crowd grew restless, their cheers turning to mutters. Xorath's arrogance began to falter. Tessa could see it in his eyes, the disbelief that she was still standing. As Xorath became more frustrated, his swings grew wilder, less precise. Tessa saw her chance. She darted forward, her small blade flashing as she aimed for the back of his knee joint, a weak point in his armor. With a swift slice, she managed to sever the tendons in one leg. Xorath roared, stumbling forward. For the first time in his career, Xorath was brought to his knees. The crowd fell silent. Tessa took a step back, panting, but her eyes never left his. She leaned in, speaking words only he could hear. "Strength isn't everything. You fight for power, but I fight for something greater." Xorath's eyes narrowed, his pride shattered. He knew he had been defeated. In the days that followed, the Khar-Xhoar held to their promise, begrudgingly granting Earth its freedom. Tessa returned home to a hero's welcome, her story spreading across planets as a symbol of hope for the oppressed. She was no longer just a simple girl. She was the one who had defeated the undefeatable. And from that day forward, legends would speak of the human girl who dared to challenge an alien champion. Not with brute force, but with heart, courage, and the spirit of freedom.